Yes, indeed. Thank you very much for this question. Very interesting. IoT will have an impact regarding, indeed, the efficiency of moving, mainly in the big cities where there is a lot of troubles regarding traffic jam and so on. So it could have a big impact just to decrease the amount of traffic jam, of course, to have much more efficiency regarding the transport of persons, not only for our own cars, but also for public transportations. So that means that at the end, this could reduce, and I think there were some studies regarding that in the UK, about 15% less loss of time in the traffic jam. That means a lot of money also for the state, for the person, and less time just used to travel. Another approach is the fact that that means also less carbon dioxide, and less, certainly that carbon dioxide is a very impactful thing for the future and for the next generation. So we certainly have to take care of our environmental issues. So that's also a big point.
If we look at a lot of what policing does, certainly road safety is a key element. And that's part of the broader conversation about transport safety. In Australia, over the last 5 years on average, we've had 2,130 odd people killed nationally. And that's not counting the number of people who are seriously injured and the trauma and the cost that causes the community. So if we look at just from a road transport perspective, I think LTE has got a lot to offer there for us. At the moment in Australia, we're going down a 5.9 gigahertz path for having a cooperative intelligent transport system. That will definitely assist in what we do. However, the advent of new sensor networks within the vehicles, I think Mercedes got something like 90 at the moment. By 2020 there'll be over 200. So the vehicles are becoming very smart. So if we can use the vehicle itself as a core component of our road safety plans, I think we'll have significant gains. We've had gains with seatbelts, we've had gains with alcohol, we've had gains with speed management, but certainly using the Internet of Things within the vehicle as part of a integrated cooperative intelligent transport system will be a key step in that next big way we manage the road toll. I think in Korea at the moment, where they've got the LTEV or LTE for vehicles, some really interesting work there where they're not so much on the 5.9 gigahertz, they're using LTE network to actually provide a very robust and capable intelligent transport system, which will be, as I say, provide a lot of benefits down the path. And if we can start having those sorts of conversations and engage certainly vehicle manufacturers as well, I think we'll be a lot better off as far as safer transport is concerned. And then you can extend that out into what do we do with railways, what do we do with shipping, what do we do with aircraft and whatnot. But certainly road safety is a key aspect of what we do and causes so much trauma in all of our communities. So I think LTE has got a lot to offer in that area.
Yes, IoT can impact the workforce just for different reasons. First one, I just told you, the fact that you can drive much more smoothly around the city. The other point is that you don't need to have a lot of people taking care, let's just say about the car. Your car can be maintained at time because of IoT can tell the center of eventually the fleet that you have. They can tell them that your car needs to have maintenance just before it breaks down. So this is one of the numerous facts that you can find back with the IoT. But IoT, of course, needs a lot of different improvement in the same time.
The Internet of Things is going to really transform our lives, some in good ways, some in a bad way. I think the rush to integrate sensors into some of our communications networks, as you saw with the denial of service attack in the US recently, is something we'll need to think through a bit more as far as security is concerned. and perhaps air gapping some sensor networks. But the Safe Cities concept, which integrates all the Internet of Things, is really interesting. South Korea once again is leading the way. Here in Dubai, they're doing some excellent work. It's easy when you start with a clean slate and you build something afresh. How we get the Internet of Things into our existing cities and communities will be difficult. Will be interesting, won't be difficult. We'll be able to do it. But say London, which you've got buildings several hundred years old, how do you put sensors into that environment? It will be a challenge. But what does that mean for public safety? Well, there's going to be a lot more competition for spectrum and spectrum availability to actually support the Internet of Things of the future. So how do we increase our leverage with the government or with vendors to ensure that we're getting a service which meets our needs? The new sensors within buildings, safe and fire detection and suppression, fantastic, will save a lot of lives. But then that causes pressure on the fire services. So, well, is there such a demand to have an investment in fire services to that degree? So that will change. The other side of the coin with IoT is what's going to happen as far as robotics are concerned with automation. A lot of what we do as far as manufacturing at the moment, robotics will come into that, relying on the IoTs to support their operations. So people will lose their jobs or will have to change their jobs. So a whole employment or concept of employment will change, especially for some of the lower middle class. So whether that causes different community issues that we need to be concerned about from a policing perspective, potentially. How do we ensure that some of the people who will lose jobs and opportunities through ITS are given new opportunities? I'm not sure if we've fully conceived that yet, but yeah, the ITS, very exciting, smart cities will have significant gains, make our lives better, or certainly our children's lives better, so that will be very exciting.
Well, this let's say, change over from the normal life, should I say, to much more IoTs is already ongoing, just because everybody is in his pocket a device which could phone but also inform, connected on, let's say, radio waves, Wi-Fi, on Bluetooth and so on. So that's already a part of the IoT for tomorrow. But I think a lot of improvement will be coming just by adding some more captures, just to know much more information regarding device, not live device, but just machines, engines, and so on. Connecting all those different captures everywhere in a machine or whatever will improve indeed the information that you can manage and you can receive in a control room, let's say, and where you can take all those information together. Of course, you will need then a very bright intelligence to just take all those information, to manage them, and to have as a result a very bright system that will tell you what will be what will be the future of your engine, of eventually when there is an attack, what is the ways of the importance of the action we have to take care afterwards.
If we think about the transition to an LTE-based public safety, I think one of the key problems we've got is certainly from Australia's perspective is we have a lot of things operating in silos and we don't have a systems level understanding or approach to the future public safety communications environment. As I mentioned before, the ACMA in Australia, the regulator, are doing some fantastic work to establish a policy environment to support a fully integrated communications network. But states and territories, to be quite frank, I'm not sure if they've got the leadership being shown in that space. So if we think from a systems perspective, a whole emergency response is built around the public switch telephone network, where someone makes a 000 or 112 or 911 call. And from there it goes to public safety answering point, and then we move it around. Under a mobile broadband environment with LTE, we can obtain so much more data, richer data, more useful data, to really understand what's happening at an incident level. However, that fundamentally changes our whole concept of the business. Now, we've currently got business processes and policy processes built for an environment which doesn't exist anymore. So how we reconceptualise the business processes and the policy environment is a key challenge which will limit what we do with LTE.
Yes, well, indeed, smart city and safe city need absolutely this kind of intelligence added to a lot of information coming from everywhere. So IoTs, let's speak only about CCTV, which is another kind of IoTs. CCTV analysis of images and so on can help to detect automatically without any person just looking on a screen 8 hours a day, just inform person that there is something going on somewhere. And even here in some booth, I've seen some very intelligent systems that can tell, let's say, that a car is driven in a wrong way. So automatically you can alert some task force to go directly to the point. You don't have to even have a person to tell it. So it's automatic, it's rapidly done, and this could impact also the security in the city. Not only in the city, but mainly in the city.
If we think about the potential for smart cities to be safe cities, the key limiting factor will be if we don't talk to each other and if we don't build up the trust with each other. So really moving to an environment where we've got a multidisciplinary approach, where we have got the government, the industry and the first responders involved in the conversation. To think of, well, okay, public safety is not just the traditional first response option of police, fire, ambulance. What's that second tier or third tier level of actor that we need to consider in the public safety environment? If we start doing that, like things like transport networks for trains or buses, or think about for power, communications and other utilities, those key community lifelines are going to be critical for a safe and sustainable city. So we need to rework the model of public safety communications to include those other actors and always focus on what's the community outcome we're trying to achieve or that we could achieve. Certainly the focus should be on the community and how we improve their quality of life, and so how do we work together to actually make sure we're giving the community the best service we can.